Swedish activist Greta Thunberg has branded the COP26 climate conference a failure. She told thousands of protesters in Glasgow that world leaders were deliberately postponing much-needed action. She added that the summit amounted to a global greenwashing festival. The trial of 3 men accused of murdering a black man whilst he was out jogging has begun in the US state of Georgia. The death of 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery last year sparked protests across the United States. The company Pfizer says its new COVID pill is 89% effective at preventing hospital treatment or death. The drug company has already applied to US regulators for emergency approval. 2 further board members have joined Chairman Roger Hutton in resigning from the Yorkshire County Cricket Club over the club's response to racism experienced by the player Azim Rafiq.
Britain starts enforcing a second nationwide lockdown to slow the spread of the coronavirus. The restrictions are set to end December 2nd. In Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta extends a nighttime curfew and orders a ban on political gatherings as the number of coronavirus cases increases. In the United States, the governor of Oregon deploys National Guard troops to control demonstrations in the city of Portland. And Americans are waiting to see who won the U.S. presidential election on Tuesday. Ballots are still being counted in several states.
We start here in Japan, where the government has decided to allow fully vaccinated foreigners to enter the country. But borders will remain closed to tourists. Strict rules barring entry were put in place 10 months ago as part of efforts to prevent the spread of the coronavirus.
This time, the measures do not cover tourists. Their entry will remain suspended, but the government is considering a plan to allow them to enter the country in stages. We will examine the effectiveness of monitoring new arrivals and the coronavirus situation at around the end of the year.
Japan's entry restrictions had covered most foreigners except those with what it called special exceptional circumstances. That included Olympic athletes. For months, industry groups and students have been campaigning to see rules eased, especially as daily infection numbers dropped. Canadian master's student Jeremy Tsai enrolled in a Japanese university in the spring, but couldn't enter the country.
Everyone on either Facebook or Twitter, everyone is so emotionally, very emotional right now, finally. Some people have been waiting for a year. Some people like me have been waiting for half a year. And I think I still need time to process the whole experience.
Before any visas are issued, sponsors must submit an application. The organizations have to include a plan of how they'll prevent infections. The process opens on Monday. Now, once students and technical trainees arrive, they need to self-quarantine for 14 days. For business travelers, that's reduced to 3 days. Right now, 3,500 international arrivals are allowed per day. But the government appears set to raise the cap later this month to 5,000. Daily COVID-19 cases have sharply declined in recent weeks. Japan reported 225 new infections on Friday. NHK has obtained an outline of economic measures to be laid out by the government of Japanese Prime Minister Kishida Fumio by mid-November. It aims to achieve economic expansion and wealth distribution to put the economy on a sustainable growth track. One of the main targets is combating the spread of the coronavirus. The government aims to bolster medical services so hospitals won't be overwhelmed even if the virus becomes more infectious than it was this summer. It also plans to provide a third vaccine dose for free. A longer-term goal is to launch what the Prime Minister calls a new form of capitalism for the future. One part of this drive is large-scale investment in clean energy and pushing the shift to electric vehicles. Now, the tourism industry is set to receive a boost through the reintroduction of the Go To Travel campaign that offers subsidies to encourage domestic trips. Other proposals include providing generous tax breaks for firms that raise employee pay and promoting moves likely to boost the minimum wage. A German Navy warship carrying out a mission in the Indo-Pacific has arrived in Tokyo. The frigate's port call is aimed at enhancing bilateral ties at a time when China is increasing its maritime activities in the region. The Bayern arrived at the Tokyo International Cruise Terminal on Friday after conducting a joint drill with a vessel from Japan's Maritime Self-Defense Force. The German Navy says the Bayern will stay in Tokyo through next Friday and participate in joint drills involving 5 countries, including Japan and the United States. Japanese Defense Minister Kishi Nobuo inspected the frigate. He later told reporters the Bayern is the first Navy vessel from Germany to make a port call in Japan in about 20 years.
As Japan's defense minister, I really welcome the frigate's port call because it shows Germany's strong determination to contribute to peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region.
The Inspector General of the German Armed Forces said the Indo-Pacific region is one of the world's most strategically important areas. He stressed the importance of enhancing cooperation with Japan, saying it'll contribute to keeping the maritime transportation routes in the region free and open. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson told reporters on Friday China is closely monitoring news reports about the German frigate's port call. He said cooperation among the countries concerned should contribute to the promotion of mutual trust as well as peace, stability, and development in the region. He said the opposite set of circumstances should not be the case. South Korea's main opposition party has chosen a former top prosecutor to be its presidential nominee. Yoon Suk-yeol appears headed for a tight race in March against the ruling Democratic Party candidate. Yoon beat out 3 rivals at a closely watched party convention on Friday.
We pledge to restore fairness and common sense and to normalize South Korea. We will restart the nation's heartbeat.
The 60-year-old is a former prosecutor general. He was unexpectedly picked by President Moon Jae-in. But Yoon drove a wedge between himself and Moon by launching graft probes into the current government. He resigned in March. Though his star is rising, Yoon's political inexperience has led to a series of gaffes. He once said employees should be allowed to work 120 hours a week. His main opponent is the candidate from President Moon's Democratic Party.
We'll begin a great journey with great people and party members. As president, I'll work hard to protect the people of South Korea.
Lee Jae-myung is a 56-year-old former human rights lawyer. He served as a city mayor and a provincial governor. He's pledged to introduce universal basic income if elected. Poll results released on Friday give Lee a slight edge. His support rate is 26% compared to Yoon's 24%. The election is scheduled for March 9th. The air quality index of India's capital, New Delhi, entered a severe zone on Thursday night as revelers burst firecrackers to celebrate Diwali. It's the biggest Hindu event of the year, known as the Festival of Lights. The overall air quality index, which includes several pollutants, hit dangerous levels. Toxic PM10 particulates approached 1,000 micrograms per cubic meter in some areas. The World Health Organization recommends 50 as the normal level.
As an eye surgeon, I think I will soon get many patients with complaints of eye irritation and itching. Such patients come to me every year. I get firecracker injury cases too. I'm prepared for that.
Several states banned firecrackers and urged residents to stay away from them to keep air pollution under control. New Delhi's air quality generally worsens this time of year. Pollution in northern India has surged due to stubble burning by farmers and dropping temperatures with the onset of winter. The continuing threat of global warming is expected to lead to more frequent tsunami. To prepare for this, the United Nations established an annual World Tsunami Awareness Day. And this year, dozens of school children in a coastal town in western Japan marked a day with an evacuation drill. The students were among about 100 people who took part in the drill in Hirogawa. In the scenario, a massive earthquake had struck off the Pacific coast, leading to an emergency train shutdown.
It's the first time I ever got off a train like that. Now I think I can safely evacuate if an earthquake or tsunami really occurs.
Parts of our railway line run very close to the coast. We're on high alert for a possible tsunami. We estimate a first wave could reach us within just 3 minutes.
The town is the setting of a tsunami event that unfolded in 1854. The story goes that a man set fire to piles of dried rice to warn his neighbors of approaching waves. The UN chose that day, November 5th, as World Tsunami Awareness Day. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres issued a statement saying rising sea levels caused by the climate emergency will further exacerbate the destructive power of tsunami. In other news, huge amounts of pumice stones that have been clogging up the waters in Japan's southern prefecture of Okinawa are hampering tuna fishing, resulting in reduced hauls and higher prices. About 7 tons of tuna arrived Friday at a wholesale market in the prefectural capital, Naha. The amount was about 30% lower than the average daily haul last month. Coupled with higher demand, the wholesale price of tuna is about 20% higher from October. The floating stones began appearing along coastal areas in Okinawa last month. They were thrown up by an undersea volcano that erupted in August near the Ogasawara island chain to the east. The local fisheries cooperative says the stones have prevented many fishing boats from going out to sea.
Demand for tuna is expected to rise toward the year end, so we are concerned that fish prices could rise further if the volume of the catch remains low. We hope the prefecture and the central government take swift action to remove the pumice stones.
Experts say the impact could last for a year or two, and the pumice stones are expected to continue flowing and come close to the Pacific coast of Japan's main island of Honshu. Staying here in Japan, Honda Motor has cut its business forecast for the current fiscal year as an ongoing parts shortage takes its toll. The Japanese automaker revised its global sales outlook for the year through March to 4.2 million vehicles. That's down 13% from earlier expectations. Executives are citing the global semiconductor shortage and stagnant parts procurement due to coronavirus lockdowns in Southeast Asia. Many of Honda's production plants and suppliers are based in the region. The cut is set to affect the bottom line with a full-year net profit forecast of $4.9 billion, representing a 17% drop in yen terms from the previous outlook. Next in weather, people in parts of southern Europe are once again bracing for a potent storm this weekend. Our meteorologist Jonathan O has the outlook for there and elsewhere in our World Weather Report.
Hello, southern areas of Europe has been really impacted by a low pressure system earlier in the week, and now we're seeing another low that's going to be moving up from the south into the central areas of the continent as we head into the first part of next week. Places like Tunisia and the northern areas of Africa will be impacted by this along with a portion of the Iberian Peninsula, but then we'll see it developing over the weekend and slowly moving to the north and east, which means Italy, you need to be on the lookout for once again continued rainfall as we go through next week. Still seeing some rain in Rome with a high of 18 on Saturday. That low that was moving through the northern areas of the continent, mainly bringing cloudy areas with a high of around 10 degrees for the region. Meanwhile, keeping an eye on what's happening down toward the southeastern areas of the United States as we had this stubborn low that's slowly drifting to the north and east. So more rain expected for the region as we go into Saturday. Another wave of rain into the Pacific Northwest with another low pressure system rolling through. Higher elevations, maybe dealing with some snow, so be on the lookout for that as we head into the weekend. Meanwhile, it was a beautiful day across Japan. We are expecting a relatively dry weekend for most of the country, though Sapporo, you'll be seeing some rain coming up by Sunday. A developing system from the west will bring some rain into western areas of Japan as we head into Monday. So you definitely want to have your umbrellas prepared as we head off into the work week. Before we go, let's go to the western areas of Japan with this beautiful sight as fall foliage is at its peak in Okutsuki Valley of Okayama Prefecture, with trees with these colorful leaves attracting many tourists. You can enjoy a stroll on an 800-meter long promenade along the valley with a live event taking place from 5 to 9 p.m. showing a nighttime majestic scene. Check it out by mid-November. Hope you have a wonderful weekend wherever you are.